faith, and credit, the recognition, acceptance, and enforcement of the laws, orders, and judgments of another jurisdiction, specifically the recognition of one state of another state's legal decisions. Yeah. Now, the state of Washington has refused to give full faith and credit to the stipulation and order of Guam. Hmm. And your thought was, as a state, that you're just going to obstruct me for suing you. But I gave you a copy of the stipulation and order, yes. And I mentioned that it's not in the public court record. Oh. Now, let's say I sued you, right, for violating the Constitution of the United States. And your thought was, well, as much as we want to, we're going to refuse to recognize, accept, and enforce the laws, orders, and judgments of another jurisdiction, specifically the recognition by the state of Washington of another state's legal decision. Yes. Now, the Superior Court of Guam stipulation and order, yes, gave me the right to have my criminal record expunged, yes, of being arrested, not charged, but the charges were there if I didn't do what it was required. Yeah. Hmm. Do you have any knowledge of a stipulation and order from the Superior Court of Guam that this state is refusing to enforce? Yes. That would require me to have custody of my sons? Yes. And then, is there any other states? Yes. That are enforcing, yes, the fraud of a state that supports terrorism. Pooh! Because the court may vacate the trial date scheduled in this matter. Yeah. Having entered into diversion, yeah, completed the counseling requirements, paid the applicable fines and fees. Yeah. I was unsupervised status of my probation. I was allowed to leave the island. Ouch. And then any contact between Mr. Budnick and his wife and children, which will be regulated by the court in the state of Washington. Mr. Budnick shall obey the orders of the Washington court. Yes. Now, this full faith and credit means that you had a stipulation and order where you could not issue a protection order in 2011. Did the state of Washington not understand the full faith and credit of the other court's jurisdiction? Full Faith and Credit Act, yeah, a federal statute requiring federal courts to give a state court's judgment the same preclusive effect as the judgment would have under state law 28 U.S. Code 1738. See, Migra versus Warren City School District Board of Education. Yes. This FFCA. Yeah. Now, the federal courts have to give the state court's judgment the same preclusive effect as the judgment would have under state law. Yes. That means I can sue every federal judge of the United States of America for refusing to enforce this state to enforce the stipulation and order where you have knowledge of my rights being violated. So for every judge that does have to, because it's a federal statute, right now, why don't you get me the prostate of each of those district court judges? Judge Brent Baisden. Superior Court Judge Brent Baisden. Can I have that walnut that's right next to your rectum there? Ouch. And then why don't you get me the prostate of the Supreme Court Justices Gonzalez, ouch, Wiggins, Johnson. And then for each and every Supreme Court that does have knowledge that you've refused to enforce the stipulation and order, yes, but you issued a dissolution of marriage where I didn't receive it right now. And you issued a child support order called the Full Faith and Credit for Child Support Orders Act. Yes, it does. 28 U.S. Code 1738B. I'm going to want to sue each justice. Each judge. Yes, it does. Now, when I told you to give me